What is going on, Arizona sports fan family? How are we doing out here today on this Sunday evening, ladies and gentlemen? Big shout out to everybody that's currently in the chat right now. We got a fun-filled show for you today. We're talking everything Arizona Cardinals and who is going to be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals heading into this crazy, wild, drawn out offseason, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely do me a huge favor if you guys haven't done so already. Smack the like button on this video and also subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. We're on the road to 12K, ladies and gentlemen. I can't do it without you guys, so definitely subscribe it up. Smack the like button. And also, this video is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you go ahead and download the app. Use promo code AZSF and they will match your deposit up to $100. Go ahead and try to see if you can win some money by using Underdog Fantasy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive right into this. If you somehow felt like you're on a roller coaster, if you somehow felt like you don't know what's happening in this offseason, right? Who the next Arizona, ex-Arizona Cardinal head coach is going to be, you're not alone, ladies and gentlemen. You're truly, truly not alone. I think a lot of people out here are trying to do their best to kind of put their best guesstimation out there to find out who the next head coach is for the Arizona Cardinals. And let me tell you one thing right now, ladies and gentlemen, it is so crazy to find out where we are at right now, right? Like at one point, I thought we would be knowing this head coach by 2 weeks ago. And that happened. And then I was like, okay, well, this week. And then that went through. And then we just still don't really 100% know what's happening with the Arizona Cardinals. But we do got some new updates to kind of talk about and, obviously bounce back and forth pertaining to, you guys and me. Let me know how you guys are feeling about this big news that we ended up getting today. Let me get to these two contributions. What's up, AZ fan? He says, hire Flores or Anarumo, please end this. Love it. See, obviously, I mean, there you go. There's a lot of people very, very, kind of to the point where we just want to know our head coach at this very moment, right? You're not alone, man. You're truly not. What's up, Jason? He says, what's up, Mike? Who you got as the head coach? Thoughts? Well, we're going to dive into that here pretty soon, ladies and gentlemen. We did get breaking news in the world of the Arizona Cardinals, and it comes from Ian Rappaport, and this is what the breaking news is. Ian Rappaport ended up dropping this bombshell today, saying that Steelers senior defensive assistant and linebackers coach Brian Flores is expected to have a second interview with the Arizona Cardinals for their head coaching job on Wednesday. Sources said he will also interview the Broncos defensive coordinator job the day before and is the top candidate for the Vikings defensive coordinator job. So as you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Flores' services is very, very highly sought after. Maybe not for the head coaching role like the Arizona Cardinals, right? Like we want him for our head coach. At least, well, that's what we're told, right? That we want him for our head coach, or at least we want to go for that second interview. But he got other options out there. He has other options. He's got the Broncos, and then on top of that, the Vikings. He seems to be the top candidate for that Vikings defensive coordinator job. And obviously, I think we will find out a little bit more in terms of where Brian Flores is going to go by this coming week. Because if he is the top candidate for the Vikings, right? I mean, that there's definitely some intrigue there if he does decide to go with the Minnesota Vikings to go there. Because honestly, I think he's really kind of waiting to see if the Arizona Cardinals are very interested in the idea of bringing him in. Now, as of right now, let's talk about this, right? Let's talk about the idea of Brian Flores, because I know there's a lot of people out there that, not a lot, but there's a good amount of group of people that want Brian Flores. And when you ask them, why do you want Brian Flores? They end up responding with, well, he was the head coach, right? And on top of that, he's going to bring in accountability, right? Those are the two top things that we're hearing out there in the social media world, that people want Brian Flores because he was a head coach before, so he's got that experience. And on top of that, he will make people accountable, right? Like that's what we're hearing from the Arizona Cardinal fans out there. Now, let me go ahead and put a quick rebuttal here. Now, I think one of the biggest, most important things, if the Arizona Cardinals truly is going to go after Brian Flores, one of the biggest questions is who's going to be your offensive coordinator? That should be the biggest thing that the Arizona Cardinals is asking. Now, I was one of the first few people out here that ended up reaching out to a few of my buddies that do the same thing that I do, but for the Miami Dolphins. And one of the critiques that we've had from Brian Flores is that he's good, overall a good head coach, but he has trouble creating and surrounding himself with a good coaching staff. It is one of the biggest knocks that we've seen so far. Now, that same person said that he hopes that Brian Flores has learned from that opportunity, right? Like in terms of making sure that he's able to bring in an offensive coordinator. And because let's be honest, right? The elephant in the room right now is the fact that Brian Flores, although yes, accountability is going to be a big, big trait that he can bring in, right? Also, the fact that he's already been a head coach is a big, big focal point as well. But the biggest knock that I have on him as well is the fact that who is he going to be his offensive coordinator, right? Now, I know he's a defensive-minded head coach, and if he somehow brings in somebody that we're completely blown away with, I think a lot of Cardinal fans will be happy with that, right? I truly do. But that's the big elephant in the room right now is who is going to be Brian Flores' offensive coordinator. Now, right now, we have 4 candidates that have second interviews with the Arizona Cardinals. Yes, we have an absolutely long list of people to obviously talk about, or we already talked about. There's 4 candidates that we know of right now that has second interviews, right? Aaron Glenn, Lou Anarumo, um, let's see, Brian Flores now, and Mike Kafka, right? Those are the 4 potential closer than other candidates that are out there right now, right? Those are the 4 candidates that we have. Let me do a real quick recap as well. Lou Anarumo, Mike Kafka, Brian Flores, and Aaron Glenn. Those are the only 4 right now that we know of that has had second interviews for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I've been on record saying things like what I would love as an Arizona Cardinal fan is to bring Lou Anarumo in to be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. I think that's a really, really cool thing to do. Now, a couple things we could do with the defensive coordinator, right? If he truly does, not have anybody else, we can stay with Vance Joseph, right? As a defensive coordinator. Now, I get it. There's some people out there that are a little like, they're a little hesitant to that idea. But I mean, that's also a possibility for him to stay with him. Or if he has some people that he knows of that can get the opportunity, he can bring that person in as well. Now, if we do go the Lou Anarumo route, who's his offensive coordinator going to be? Now, a lot of those questions are really questions that are best answered by those people themselves, right? As people looking from the outside looking in, all we can do is say, they're linked to this person because they worked with this person and this team, right? We don't have anybody specifically linked with Lou Anarumo as of right now. I know there was some people kind of chattering about why not bring offensive coordinator Brian Callahan with him. I don't know if that's possible. I truly don't. I don't know if the Bengals will accept that lateral move, and I'm not sure if Brian Callahan would want something like that, right? Now, we don't really know exactly like what's going to happen or what's going to come out of the 4 candidates that we know of right now that has second interviews for the Arizona Cardinals. All I know right now is that all of them have very, very, very strong potential to be very good at being a head coach. The only one that I'm really a little wary about is I'm worried about Aaron Glenn. It's just I don't think his resume is as I don't know. I have a hard time explaining it. I don't think I wouldn't be confident. I wouldn't be comfortable with going through with Aaron Glenn as the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, in my opinion. Now, if you guys want to change my mind, that's completely fine. Definitely do that in the comments below. Now, that's my kind of take on Aaron Glenn. I would like the idea of Mike Kafka. At one point, I was like, I'm not quite 100% sure, right? I don't know how I feel about it, but we never know, right? We never truly know how Mike Kafka is going to be. Now, please keep in mind that the head coaching position, yes, it does affect the fact that if they are offensive-minded or defensive-minded head coaches, that's cherry on top of the ice cream, right? But the number one key quality that you need to have as a head coach is to be a leader of men, and also being the fact that, you need to be able to change the culture within this organization. And that's one thing that I've heard very, very high praises about from Lou Anarumo. And I think that's why I'm leaning towards Lou Anarumo a little bit heavily more than the other ones. Now, whoever gets hired, I'm going to support him, right? I'm going to support him to my best of my ability. I'm going to do my best to definitely support whoever comes in here, right? Whether it's Brian Flores, Mike Kafka, or Lou Anarumo, or even Aaron Glenn, although I would rather not see Aaron Glenn personally, but I would be, supporting everybody to my best of my ability. Now, I want Lou Anarumo personally. I don't know who the offensive coordinators are going to be or the defensive coordinators are going to be or who they're linked with or who they know. what we know so far is that when Brian Flores did have his opportunity, when he was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, is that he had a hard time building a coaching staff around himself. And that leads me to believe of, okay, well, if he gets the opportunity, the biggest question out there is who's going to be his offensive coordinator, right? And if we don't know that, or if the Cardinals don't know that, I think that might kind of lean a little to the other candidates, right? Your Mike Kafkas or your, your Lou Anarumo. Believe it or not, sometimes going with the new up and comer, right? It might be a little bit better than somebody that has already had a head coaching job before. Now we've seen coaches do very well when they had a head coaching job before, right? We've seen it happen, right? Big example, Bill Belichick, right? We've seen him do very well at the Patriots, but didn't do so good with the Browns, right? We've seen that. So it can happen with Brian Flores as well, right? But for me, looking at how the way the Arizona Cardinals are, doing this, I kind of want a new up and coming, guy that's wanting to fight and scratch and crawl and really try to fight for this position, because those sometimes are the very good candidates, right? Those are the ones sometimes that are better than the ones that already had the opportunity, because they kind of know. But sometimes with fresh eyes comes in a new opportunity, a new culture. So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards a little bit towards Kafka as well as Anarumo. Obviously, my heart is a little bit more on Anarumo just because of what I've been hearing so far from him, and not only from national media, but actual Bengals fans. And I actually take a lot of weight into what Bengals fans say. So they say that he's a very, very good coach, a very, very good coach, got leadership skills. And honestly, I think everything else can work himself out as long as he can maintain and build a really good coaching staff around him. I think sky's the limit for Lou Anarumo. But continue to talk about Brian Flores, right? What do you guys think in the chat? What do you guys think right now with the 4 names that we have out there? The 4 names, and this is where I want you guys to get involved. Aaron Glenn, Brian Flores, Lou Anarumo, or Mike Kafka. Right now, and I know it's going to change. I 100% already know it's going to change, because literally I felt like so far this last month in January, I felt like that we've been an absolute roller coaster, right? Like things have changed so much for the Arizona Cardinals. Like things have changed so crazy that like I don't even know how to even like fathom like how many different answers I actually had. So let's do this. I know I did say put it in the chat, but I'm going to go ahead and actually make a poll question. It might be a little easier to do it this way. So I'm just going to put the last names here. So I'm going to put Kafka. I'm going to put Anarumo. We're also going to put Glenn on here. And then we're going to put Flores. So I'm going to make the poll question right there for you guys. Go ahead and definitely do me a huge favor. Answer it up on the chat below. It's going to be in the chat of YouTube. So if you're watching on Facebook, you're probably not going to be able to do it. No worries. If you want to take and, be involved, you have to come on YouTube, just FYI. But yes, go ahead and vote it up and let me know how you guys are feeling about this Brian Flores news. We do got 2 contributions coming our way. I appreciate you guys for coming through and obviously donating. Thank you so very much for doing so. Jason says, off topic, did you see what Buda Baker said? Yes, I did. 100%. I was going to make a video about it, but dude, honestly, it's so crazy to me that like what Buda Baker said was exactly what I said in my post-game reaction. That post-game reaction was basically what Buda Baker said. We were unprepared. We didn't know, like, we looked like a deer in the headlights in that game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I said that exact thing. Now, obviously, Buda Baker's voice has a lot more oomph, has a lot more power than a YouTuber / fan of the Arizona Cardinals. But that's exactly what I said, right? And a lot of people told me, chill, calm down. It's week 1, Mike. But I came in with the thoughts of the Arizona Cardinals are going to go ahead and win a playoff game this year. That's going to be the next step. And the Arizona Cardinals didn't do that. So what Buda Baker said is exactly how I felt, truly. All right, what's up, 50? Appreciate the contribution. He says, do we have any clue who these coaches would bring as an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator? I have no idea who would even be good candidates. All that good ones are head coach candidates. Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, I think right now with what we have as Cardinal fans, or at least the media, keep in mind that everybody's grasping at straws, right? Everybody's giving you the best educated guess that they can possibly give you. Like that's the best thing that I can say. The best educated guess comes from the guesses, right? And so far, I don't think anybody has completely been 100% right, but every week it's somebody different. Now, this is a very good question. Now, if I were to kind of answer this, I can only give you who I would want, right, personally, but we don't really know who these head coaches really have close relationships to, right? Because sometimes you hear this, right? When you have a new defensive head coach coming in your way, sometimes they want to bring a whole new, brand new coaching staff out there. So it's hard to say who they would be bringing in because you need to do a little bit of more research, right? You need to kind of look to see who was their head coach before, right? Or where did they, work with? Who did they have relationships with before? And so that can be like a complete deep rabbit hole you'll find yourself in. The best person to kind of answer this is obviously going to be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. But as of right now, I can only kind of give you what I want. And as an offensive coordinator, if we go a defensive minded head coach, there was reports that came out that said Eric Bieniemy might want another job outside the Chiefs because nobody's looking his way as a potential head coach. That might be somebody that the Arizona Cardinals can possibly look over to, right? Now, obviously, Brian Callahan is another good name I want to kind of throw out there, but I don't see him moving away from Joey B. So we might see offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, people we don't know. But we're going to know once that new staff kind of comes through. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. But good question there. Let's take a look at the poll question. We got 57 votes, 3 minutes in right now, ladies and gentlemen. We got over 100 people in the chat. Definitely go ahead and continue to vote. But as of right now, we have Anna Rumo with 46%, and we got Brian Flores with 42%. Okay, so now we're at 44 and 44%. So Lou Anarumo and Brian Flores seems to be the two, I guess, leading candidates pertaining to what we are talking about here on this chat right now. Obviously, we don't have all the answers, right? We're all Cardinal fans. We want the best for the Arizona Cardinals. But as of right now, the chat has spoken, and it seems like Lou Anarumo seems to be the guy that we want, right? In terms of as Arizona Cardinal fans. But I'm almost certain that everybody in this chat will support whoever gets signed, right? Whether it's Kafka, Anarumo, Glenn, or Flores. I think everybody in this chat, maybe with the exception of those 5 or 6 people, I think we'll do our best to go ahead and support the Arizona Cardinals decision and allow them to build a culture that they want to be building kind of moving forward. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how it shakes out. But we do got a contribution coming in. What's up, Jonathan? Thank you so very much, brother. He says, harsh wake-up call. Our new head coach will be Vance Joseph. Oh, please no, please no. This is not because he is the best, but because no one wants to work with Kyler. Mark my words. Oh my goodness. I know this has been something that we've been hearing a lot. This is something we've been hearing a lot by, Cardinal fans that are kind of, coming out and saying, well, don't count Vance Joseph out, right? With the idea of that he did actually go for a interview to be the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Now, to me, I definitely see where you're coming from, right? Like this seems like a very Cardinal move if they were to go this route. I hope this doesn't happen. I truly, truly hope that Vance Joseph is not the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. And like you said, not because of the fact of him not, being the best, but the whole Kyler Murray storyline that ended up coming up. Now, to me, I don't know if I 100% believe, like, here's my thing. Here's my take. And I know I got a lot of flack for this because there's a lot of people out there that don't like Kyler Murray. Believe it or not. And that's fine, right? My job isn't here to try to convince anybody that Kyler Murray is our next head coach of the future, right? I'm sorry, our quarterback of the future, right? For years to come. That's not my job here. I only provide my own opinion and kind of go from there. But I did make a poll question not too long ago about 1 day ago, and we have over 1,300 votes. We have over 1,300 votes on this poll question, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what I ended up asking you guys, right? This is what I ended up asking you guys pertaining to the Kyler Murray situation. I said, what's the future of Kyler Murray? We have 29% saying he is my quarterback for years to come. That means 30% of this channel, or at least the people that voted, said that no matter what, Kyler Murray is the quarterback of the future. That's only 30%. How crazy is that? 58% came out and said that he needs to prove a lot next year. And then 13% says trade him now. They don't want to see him. They want to release. They don't care what happens to him, but they don't want him to be on the roster next year is what the trade him now kind of essentially insinuating. But right now that 58% obviously is leading on the Kyler Murray situation. And truth be told here, everybody, I think a lot of people are kind of, their leash is getting very, very short on the Kyler Murray talk. I'm still a big advocate of giving him at least one more opportunity to see what he can do with the new head coach. But as of right now, there's a lot of people chattering about Kyler Murray. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how it all shakes out. But as of right now, still my QB because obviously he's under contract and he's still on the roster. So appreciate the contribution. Let's go with sports. PSP, he says, I wouldn't want Flores for Kyler. Flores had issues with Tua's size and work ethic. Kyler is smaller and his lack is worth. Oh, exactly. And see, here's the thing. And I know there's some people that are going to come at me and you, right? They're going to say things like, well, why would you weigh heavily on the fact of Kyler Murray? Why does it matter? Because he's not going to be here in 2 or 3 years. I'm not looking at it that way. I'm personally not. I'm looking at this next head coach. His main job is to make sure that Kyler Murray gets right. Like, that's the way that I'm looking at this. Now, there is some people out there that are not looking at it that way. Like, they're not looking at it that way at all. At all. So, like, that's kind of one of the things that I have here on my end that I'm like, okay, well, for me as an Arizona Cardinal fan coming into this year, I think it's very important that the next head coach is going to be the one that fixes Kyler, right? Whether offensive minded or defensive minded, that should be your number one thing that you should do, fix Kyler. And if it can't happen, then we kind of know that you tried there, right? But I agree. If we do get Flores, I feel like it's kind of cooked already, right? At least in my opinion, I think it's cooked. I think the Arizona Cardinals getting Brian Flores really want to go a different route, and they're going to get accountability up the wazoo, which isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing. Accountability is a very, very good thing, especially how unaccountable our team was last year. So it's a very good thing. It's just, I'm not sure how Kyler Murray is going to react to a personality like Flores. Because also you got to keep in mind that Flores, or at least the next head coach, everybody should be in the mindset that the next head coach is going to be our head coach of the future, right? He's going to be here for more than 6 years. This is going to be the coach that we're going to have forever, right? Or not forever, but you know what I mean, for the long haul. And I don't know if I see Flores like that. I truly don't. What's up, 50O? He says, if nobody wants to work with Kyler, why interview? That's very factual. Honestly, this whole storyline, I think has completely got blown out of proportion. I think this is the way that I viewed it, right? And I'm going to summarize my last live stream because some people didn't like what I had to say, but this is kind of factual, at least the way I like to look at it. People are using the narrative that we are one of the last people to get a head coach. And they're blaming it on Kyler. We know that Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury had a very, very, very rocky, what's the word? They had a very, very rocky, 2022 season. We know that, right? And I think this national media is coming out here and they're doing everything they possibly can to like really paint this picture that this is specifically solely on Kyler Murray. And I just don't get it. Like I personally 100% don't get it because Bidwell and Monty Ossenfort both said that this is exactly what they were going to do. Like this is exactly what they were going to do. And now that we're one of the last ones, blame Kyler, blame Kyler, blame Kyler. Now, I'm not sitting here and saying that Kyler Murray isn't he's not perfect. We know that. Kyler Murray isn't perfect, but to blame him for this lack of nobody wants to work with him, I just think it's another clickbaitable, title that people can kind of use. I'm not 100% believing in it, like truly. Kyler Murray does have a lot to prove next year. Let me tell you that right now. He's got a lot to prove next year. But as of right now, I think that the Arizona Cardinals are indeed taking as long as they are because they want to find the head coach of the future. They want to make sure that they find the right guy. At least that's my opinion. Let's get to this contribution. What's up, BBH? He says, the coach hire will determine if I go through season tickets this year. Laugh aloud. But I want Van or Brian, the only two I can see as a leader of men. Van, who are you talking about with Van? I want Van. So our options are Mike Kafka, Glenn, Lou Anarumo, or Brian Flores. I guess that's my question for you. What? Who's Van? Oh, Vance Joseph. I'm so dumb. Oh my God, Vance Joseph. So okay, so you want okay? That's definitely in the minority there. Okay, so you want either Vance Joseph or Brian Flores. Okay, all right. All right, let's keep it going with the contributions. We got my guy Hookah. What's up, brother? He says this is RC3. It's not Kyler. It's no identity from the front office. Get him an O line and a playbook and see if the quarterback, if it's the quarterback or AZ's management. Boom, boom, bag. There you go. Hookah coming up here. RC3 with the banger. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. To be honest with you, I agree. The identity of the Arizona Cardinals offense was nil. It was not. It was non-existent. It wasn't there. So I agree. I think we owe Kyler another year to see what he can do under a new head coach. We knew it. We knew this from year 2. Now, if people didn't listen, then that's up to the people, right? But as this channel has grown, a lot of people don't watch every single video, and that's completely fine. But I was one of the very first, along with some subscribers, to come out and say that there is no mutual respect from Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury at year 2. We didn't have to wait till year 3 and year 4. We knew this already. We already saw with the body language. We already saw with the no eye contact. We seen it. We absolutely seen it. I think the Arizona Cardinals and the fan base should at least give them one more year, especially if this is a rebuilding year, right? Why not? And if it doesn't work out for the Arizona Cardinals, we get a very high draft pick next year and we can get another quarterback in the first round. Then everybody wins, right? Everybody wins. At least the way that I like to look at it. So as of right now, I'm kind of in one of those situations right now. I'm like, let's chill on Kyler. I know he had a very bad season, right? He didn't have the best of seasons. And the whole blowing up on DeAndre Hopkins and Cliff Kingsbury wasn't a good look. And I'm completely fully aware of that. But let's take a look at the poll question. Let's see if the poll has changed from what you guys originally said, which I believe it was split between Lou Anarumo and Flores. And right now, it seems like we got over 111 votes, and we got 46% saying Flores. So 46% says they want Brian Flores. 36% says they want Lou Anarumo. 15% says Kafka. And then obviously Glenn with the very small 3%. But I don't honestly blame that 3% because Glenn has been very, I don't know. I'm not feeling the Glenn situation. I'm not feeling it personally. But as of right now, the fans, right, has spoken, right? The fans have spoken. Brian Flores is what people seem to kind of really want right now. Okay, I can respect that. Okay, here we go. Another contribution coming in here. What's up, BBH? My apologies. I meant Lou. Oh, okay. Oh, snap. Okay, well, dang. I was going to have to kind of, send something your way, BBH. I was like, this doesn't sound like you. Okay, I'm glad you clarified. So he says, my apologies. I meant Lou. Laugh out loud. I put Van when I heard you guys talking about Vance, but I don't want Vance. No. Okay, gotcha. Okay, I was gonna send some, some help, some SOS your way, because I was gonna say this doesn't sound like PBH, but I'm not gonna call him out. Okay, gotcha. So you want either Flores or Lou Anarumo. Okay, gotcha. All right, appreciate the clarification, my dude. Yeah, well. See, here's my thing though. And I think there's a lot of people that are not talking about this. A lot of people are not talking about the whole Brian Flores situation. One of his biggest knocks is the fact that he can't build a coaching staff around himself. That's one of his biggest knocks. And that comes from Miami Dolphins fans. So I'm going to tell you straight up. There was 2 people that I reached out to that I'm like, they know Miami Dolphins. I don't know them. I want to reach out to them about Brian Flores. I reached out to my guy TD Finstock as well as Dougly Do Wrong, which are very, very good Miami Dolphins YouTubers. If you haven't, heard about them, definitely check them out, especially if you want Miami Dolphins news. Both of them said good things about him, right? Both of them said good things. TD said you would be lucky to have him, right? Short and simple. Dougly Do Wrong said he's good, but the biggest struggle and the biggest knock on him is the fact that he cannot build a staff around himself. And that's concerning. That's what's concerning me as a Cardinal fan, because my main thing is who are we going to be? Who's going to be, how is this going to work, right? Who's going to be the guy that's going to be able to elevate Kyler? Because I don't think it's going to be Flores. Can you imagine Flores and Kyler Murray in the same room with each other? Right? It's gonna be like WrestleMania. You know what I mean? It's gonna like be a pay-per-view match. Imagine that. I feel like we're gonna have so many primetime games because people just want to see Flores and Kyler Murray go at it, right? Like that would be a crazy sight to see. And that's one thing that really worries me, right? It worries me the fact that I don't know if their personalities are gonna mesh. Now, I could be wrong, right? I can be 100% wrong, which I want to be, especially if he's our coach. But that's one thing that really freaks me out. Instead of progressing into the right way, we're progressing completely down the wrong way, is the way that I look at it. Now, like I said earlier, if Brian Flores truly is our next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, cool. Okay, I'm on board, right? I'm going to support anybody who the Cardinals hire, right? Lou, Glenn, Brian, or Mike Kafka. So I'm going to support him. It's just I have some hesitancy when it comes with Brian Flores in the fact that he's a defensive-minded head coach and the fact that he does not have, or his history of being a head coach is he can't build a team around him or a coaching staff. That's where the worry comes from. That's where the worry comes from. What's up, Hookah? RC3 with another super chat. What's up, brother? He says coaching comes a long way. Dable did it with Jones under fire. Peterson and Trevor after Saban. Myers, right after Myers, and Browns could have made the playoffs. Watson's full season. We need a coach that loves football, not swag. Ooh. Man, you're dropping some jewels today. Man, you're dropping some bombs, man. RC3 coming over here with the good stuff. So coaching comes a long way. Dable did it with Daniel Jones under fire. We got Peterson and Trevor Lawrence after Urban Meyer, not Saban, Urban Meyer, and then Browns could have made the playoffs if Watson had a full season. We need a coach that loves football, not swag. I like that. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, I've heard so many good things from Lou Anarumo, right? Like, there's not a lot of people on Lou Anarumo's side at all, right? Even if you take a look at this poll question right here, right now, a lot of people seeming to be like they want to go the route of Brian Flores because of the comfortability of what Brian Flores can bring, right? So I think a lot of people that want to go Brian Flores, they don't really have I don't think they're really thinking about who their offensive coordinator is going to be, because I think he's going to be a good coach. That's definitely something that I'm not going to doubt there. I think he's going to be a very good coach for the Arizona Cardinals if he is to be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. It's just how is the coaching staff, right? Like that's the big thing. That's what a lot of people aren't really talking about. He's typing too fast. No worries, man. You're good, brother. Appreciate you. I know what you're talking about. Same wavelength. Thanks for the contribution. Yeah, so I agree. We need somebody that loves football, not swag. Facts, man. Absolutely factual right there. Yeah, so I agree. Right now, right, we got some people to talk about. Now, we didn't really focus a lot on Kafka. What we know about Kafka right now, which is if you are on the Kafka train, if you like Kafka, then there has been some rumors and swirls around Kafka. Now, John Gambadoro from 98.7, which is local radio station here in Phoenix, Arizona, he ended up putting something out there a day or two before the news came out that we're going to go ahead and give him a second interview. He ended up saying that what he's heard, he's not reporting anything, but he's heard that the interview from Mike Kafka was over the top very good. He's not saying he's a leading candidate. He's not saying that, reporting anything. He just heard what, he's giving you what he heard, right? That the Mike Kafka interview was very, very good. And then a day later to 2 days later, somebody, drops a bombshell saying the fact that Mike Kafka gets a second interview. But not just Mike Kafka, right? Mike Kafka got a second interview. Lou Anarumo got a second interview. Now we know that Brian Flores got a second interview. And then we got Glenn with the second interview that already happened. So, I don't know. It's just something about Glenn. I'm not quite 100% there. Now we are going to talk about other possibilities here pretty soon. What we already know is what we already talked about. Now the Arizona Cardinals right now being very patient. Are they waiting for the Super Bowl to be over? Is that what's going on? Are the Arizona Cardinals waiting for the Super Bowl week because we are maybe going for somebody else? We're going to dive into that here pretty soon as well for other people that are out there, right? We're going to dive into that here pretty soon. What's up, Illadre? Appreciate the contribution. He says Brian Flores was sabotaged in Miami. I disagree that he can't build a Miami staff. Never backed him up. That's fair. That's fair. So, okay, that's fair. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm only going based off what we've heard from Miami fans, right? It's because Flores was there for what, 3 or 4 years, right? And even when he got fired, they even said that the main reason why he got fired was because he didn't want to tank. Like, even the Miami fans said that, like, he didn't want to tank, so they ended up, kicking him and giving him the boot. So the fact that he's been there for 2 to 3 to 4 years, I forgot how many years that Brian Flores was the head coach over there. I think it's 3, but it's been consistent, right? It's been a consistent thing where there was never a good coaching staff around Flores. Now, can he learn from his mistakes? Oh, of course, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I think truly he can learn from his mistakes, right? But I think that's a very big question that Michael Bidwell as well as Monty Osenfort needs to ask out there, is the fact that, okay, we're really considering you to be a head coach, Brian Flores. Who's going to be your offensive coordinator? I would be shocked if that is not a question asked. I would be shocked if that's not a question asked to Brian Flores, because that's a good question to ask, right? Especially because of the way that he coaches, which isn't a bad thing. Accountability is something that we need in plethora here. We need plethora of accountability within this locker room. We do. We need it, right? Buda Baker came out today and said the fact that we weren't prepared for week 1, right? Kyler Murray was sick. There was injuries. We weren't prepared for week 1. Buda said it, right? So accountability is definitely something that we need. So we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. We got another contribution coming in here. What's up, BBH? $10 super chat. What's up, man? He says, I agree about the help around him, but this year he almost got them back to the playoffs, but never know with his second chance. But the remaining options leaves these two as the top candidates, in my opinion. I agree with that. I 100% agree. I agree. I think Flores does have a... I would put him as a top, right? Unless, like, right now on February the 5th, right? Right now, the top leading candidates for the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, in my opinion, not in order, Brian Flores, Lou Anarumo, and Mike Kafka. Those are my 3 leading candidates right now. Now, I know Aaron Glenn also had a second interview. I just don't know 100% if that truly is a lot of big interest there. Granted, yes, he had a second interview, so there has to have some sort of interest. But those are my 3 top candidates right now as it stands, right? Right now we're sitting on February the 5th. Now, things can change next week, right? Things can change next week for this whole situation. Maybe we might find out that the Arizona Cardinals truly do want to reach out after other candidates, right? Maybe they want to reach out to Shane Steichen. Who would be excited about that? I would be excited about that. Maybe they want to reach out to Shane Steichen, right? Maybe they want to reach out to Jonathan Gannon, right? Defensive coordinator from the Eagles. Maybe they want to reach out to Eric Bieniemy, right? Offensive coordinator of the Chiefs. It's truly a possibility, right? At one point, I was going to say these are the candidates, and I don't think anything's going to happen, right? Like, I think these are the candidates that we had to look for, right? And then, boom, we get new names coming our way. So, honestly, I wouldn't put it past the Arizona Cardinals to throw a bombshell our way and say, we want to reach out to Shane Steichen, right? We want to reach back out to Jonathan Gannon, right? We want to reach out to Eric Bieniemy. Like, I wouldn't put it past that for the Arizona Cardinals to possibly wait. Now, we did hear rumors and speculations that the Colts are probably going to sign their next head coach this coming week or the week following the Super Bowl. So that might be the same plan that the Arizona Cardinals are going through as well, right? Where we might be getting our head coach this week or the following week after the Super Bowl as well, because then everything opens up, right? Then everything opens up. You want to interview Shane Steichen, you're free to do so. You want to interview again, Jonathan Gannon, you're free to do so. Eric Bieniemy and so forth. There's more options, right? There's more options for the Arizona Cardinals. So this next week, I just think that we're going to be in a situation where we might get another name thrown at us. The way that the Arizona Cardinals are doing things right now, we might get another name thrown at us. Now, because I said it, maybe it might not come true. That's a possibility, right? But we'll see. We'll see. What's up, 50Yo? Appreciate the contribution. What if Kyler doesn't want any of these guys? Honestly, to be honest with you, this is the way I like to look at it. right now, the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals is supposed to be the future of the Arizona Cardinals. This is the way I'm looking at it. Now, Sean Payton looks like a better name, right, to say that, right? It's a better name to kind of put out there, the being the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, because it's Sean Payton. Being that we have the options that we do, if Kyler Murray doesn't pan out, then we might find Kyler Murray not having so much of a say, right? So I think that's one thing that we're seeing from Arizona Cardinals, the organization, is that they want to make sure that we're getting the right guy, because the plan is to have them become the head coach of, for the foreseeable future, right? Now, unless they completely bomb and they tank and they're just absolutely terrible, then obviously Michael Bidwell needs to make a decision at that very moment. But I think that's why they're trying to do their due diligence, right? They're trying to leave no stones unturned, throw that big cast out there right now and figure out what's going to happen here with the Arizona Cardinals. So, maybe keep in mind, right? Keep an open mind. We might hear another name or two being thrown our way maybe next week, because obviously we got the Super Bowl coming our way as well. And it just opens up a lot of opportunities. Just opens up a lot of opportunity here for other names to kind of get thrown our way, because I was one of the people that said, oh, no more names, guys. We're good. These are the names we got to worry about. And then bam, I ended up getting shut down with that idea. So what we also do know, just kind of a quick little plug, is that Ejiro Evero, defensive coordinator for the Broncos, or ex-defensive coordinator, he just got signed with the Panthers, I believe. So Ejiro Evero at one point did interview with the Arizona Cardinals for the head coaching position. It didn't really go very far, but he is no longer a candidate of the Arizona Cardinals because he just got signed as a defensive coordinator for the Panthers. So that name, cool name to say, but I don't think we have to worry about Ejiro Evero, and we can cross his name right out. So just to recap what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot more people coming on the stream. Appreciate you guys for being here, by the way. This is what we're talking about here, the breaking news that ended up dropping in the world of the Arizona Cardinals, and it's coming from Ian Rappaport, and it said Steelers senior defensive assistant and linebackers coach Brian Flores is expected to have a second interview with the Cardinals for their head coaching job on Wednesday, sources said. He also will interview with the Broncos defensive coordinator job the day before, which leaves it at Tuesday, and is a top candidate for the Vikings defensive coordinator job. So although there's teams that don't want him as a head coach, there is teams that want him as a defensive coordinator, and that is going to be the Vikings, which he seems to be the top candidate for the Vikings. And then we also have the Broncos that want to kind of get his services to pair him with Sean Payton. So this is what we're mainly talking about on this stream here today. Just the big breaking news that we ended up getting today, that Brian Flores is back, right? We thought Brian Flores is not coming back. And then big bombshell of a news came out, and now he is back. He's back in the running, getting a second interview for the Arizona Cardinals, and it's slated for Wednesday of this next week, and Tuesday, the Tuesday before, right? The day before Wednesday, he's got his interview for a defensive coordinator job with the Broncos. So busy man, right? Busy man coming his way. So we'll see exactly how it goes. What's up, Seth? He says, hey, Mike, I will go for Lou Anarumo and, Spagnola. Okay. That's the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, right? That's the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs. Steve Spagnuolo. That's a name we haven't really heard of very often. I don't think there's really any links to the Arizona Cardinals for Spagnuolo. I would say if there is going to be some more defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator names being thrown out, we haven't heard anything about Eric Bieniemy. Let's just put that out there right now. There's no word out there about Eric Bieniemy being the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Just putting that out there. Nothing, no word, no rumors, no anything. But there is Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator. We got Jonathan Gannon as the defensive coordinator from the Eagles. And then we got Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator from the Eagles as well. So we got three names to maybe possibly hear next week. We haven't heard anything with the exception of Jonathan Gannon. But we did also hear Jonathan Gannon says, no, he's not going anywhere, right? We also heard that as well after the 49ers game. So I'm not 100% sure if that's going to be something that he's going to hold true, or maybe he was just excited because he ended up beating down the 49ers, which seemed to be the best team at one point. So let's continue to look at the, so our chat or our Our poll has been updated, ladies and gentlemen. Our poll question is going to be ended here right now with over 172 votes. This is the way that it ended. We got 17% says Mike Kafka. We got 34% says Lou Anarumo. 3% says Glenn. And then 46% says Brian Flores is going to be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Appreciate you guys for obviously, participating in the poll, because that's exactly what I was looking out for, right? Who do you guys want as the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals? And it looks like Brian Flores, now that his name kind of came back up in the running, seems to be kind of the favorite amongst the Cardinal fans. Not my favorite, but I wouldn't be mad at it. Not my favorite, but I wouldn't be mad at it. What's up, Hookah? I never liked Peyton. You want new? Fix the office. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, and that we did, right? That we did. We got rid of Steve Keim, which is a huge, huge thing to do. I think there's a lot of fans out there that wanted Steve Keim gone, just gone. So now that he is gone, we're gonna go ahead and see what happens there. So we'll see. We do see somebody in the chat says Avira was a good pickup for Panthers. Oh, facts. Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I think that's one of the kind of the worrisome parts as well, because the later you find yourself getting a head coach, right? The later you find yourselves getting a head coach, it's so much harder to get an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator that you want, because they're probably already on a team, right? So that's another thing that we have to worry about, right? Maybe Lou Anarumo or Brian Flores already has names to kind of talk about, but like it doesn't help that we're kind of waiting and waiting and waiting. I like the no stones unturned. I like what we're doing, but the simple fact that the Arizona Cardinals are waiting, they might be waiting a little too long, because Ejiro Evero would have been an awesome defensive coordinator to kind of go after. Ejiro Evero would be huge for the Arizona Cardinals, as long as, like, if they didn't want to continue with Vance Joseph, that would be huge for the Arizona Cardinals. But I mean, obviously he ended up going with the Panthers, which I think it's probably better for him to go that way anyways, but we also got to think of it that way as well. What's up, RV Davey? I wouldn't mind Jeff. Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, wait, RV, are you pulling my chain here? I wouldn't mind Jeff Fisher reach out. Okay, this is a joke. It has to be a joke, right? Because you emphasize the Fisher. This has to be a joke. I wouldn't mind Jeff Fisher reach out yeah, this has to be a joke. I mean, if it's not okay, I respect it, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Jeff Fisher personally. We've seen a lot of Jeff Fisher in the Rams days, and all we saw was big time just mediocrity over there. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this one personally. I hope that you're joking. If you're not joking, cool. I respect you. I respect your decisions. Let's get to this contribution here. Let's move on. What's up, Seth? He says, I think if we get Shane Steichen or Steve Spagnuolo after the Super Bowl, if not, let's root for Lou Anarumo. Also, Mike, thanks for the birthday. Oh, absolutely. Happy birthday for sure. I'm glad you had a very, very, very good birthday. Shane Steichen's always been somebody that I'm kind of intrigued with, right? I know last we've heard was that Shane Steichen didn't have a good interview with the Panthers, but that's not going to dissuade me from trying to bring him in, but we'll see. Steve Spagnuolo, I don't even know if his name is really kind of out there, right? I don't know if anybody's kind of reaching out to him for any head coaching positions, but we'll see. Somebody in the chat says VJ is out of the coaching job. Well, right now, this is the way I look at it, right? And I think I'm going to give you this is my final thoughts before we close shop here. It's going to be maybe about a 10-minute shorter stream than usual, but this is what I'm going to say. If we do go Lou Anarumo, I would be shocked if we do keep Vance Joseph. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if we keep Vance Joseph. If we did go Mike Kafka, I can see Vance Joseph stay for the Arizona Cardinals, right? Unless Mike Kafka wants or somebody else or he knows somebody else, then I can see Vance Joseph stay. But if Lou Anarumo does come in, I somehow feel and think he might have somebody else that he would like to bring in. Now, offensive coordinator, don't ask me. Hopefully we can convince Brian Callahan to come in, which I doubt is going to happen. But I'm always leaving the thoughts of maybe Eric Bieniemy wanting an opportunity outside of the Chiefs, because nobody's looking his way because of Patrick Mahomes, because of Andy Reid. Nobody's ever looking the way of Eric Bieniemy. So I think that would be kind of cool to maybe explore that option if he wants to be an offensive coordinator. There was that report that came out that says he was looking and thinking about leaving the Chiefs and moving on as an offensive coordinator with a different organization to see if he can get a better boost, moving into a head coaching role type of thing. So we'll see. What's up, Michael? Probably going to end the super chats here of the day. He says, if Kyler misses half a year, who will be our QB to start? Well, let's just put it this way. What I want the Arizona Cardinals to do is I want them to get a free agent. If Colt McCoy doesn't come back, actually, I don't think it matters if Colt McCoy comes back or he doesn't come back. I know he's back with us for one more year, but I want us to get somebody in free agency. It's just a known thing. I want somebody in free agency. I think it's definitely something that needs to happen. And I want the Arizona Cardinals to draft somebody, whether it's going to be the quarterback that I want, right? Clayton Tune, right? If not, I don't care. As long as it's a quarterback that we bring in to have an actual competition in training camp, that's something that I feel like needs to happen with the Arizona Cardinals. Bring somebody in free agency, and on top of that, use one of your late round picks in drafting a quarterback and seeing if we can get our own Brock Purdy, right? See if we can get our own, Mystery Relevant, right? Somebody that we can actually have as a prototypical quarterback, because we never know these days. We don't know. We can get a head coach that really likes a specific quarterback in the later rounds, and he might be a gem for us, right? Who would have thought Brock Purdy was going to go on a 6-game winning streak, right? Who would have thought? Nobody would have thought that. So anything's possible. I want the Cardinals to go free agent, quarterback, and on top of that, getting a draft a quarterback in the later rounds is what I would love to see. What's up, Ben? He says, Brian or Shane would be great coaches. Yes, I agree. Now, are you talking about Brian Flores or Brian Callahan? I guess my question to you there. But I agree. I think Shane Steichen should be something that we at least should look over, right? Maybe kind of look their way. I feel like that's definitely something that the Arizona Cardinals should at least humor. And if they don't do it, then okay, well, we have 4 candidates technically with second interviews. 3 of them, which I feel like are the front runners, which is Brian Flores, Lou Anarumo, and Mike Kafka. So we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. Somebody in the chat, I'm not going to say, somebody's saying Max, I'm not going to say Max Hall greater than Murray. You're out of your mind. Why are you? I have to. No disrespect, but I feel like I haven't used this shame bell in a while, but let me just do this for you.
Shame.
Woo! All right. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like I said, this is going to be a 10-minute shorter stream than we're usually used to. I just got some things to take care of here on my end, but I appreciate you guys for tuning in. That is the latest update for Arizona Cardinals news. Brian Flores is right back into it. If you felt whiplash, if you felt some type of way of going up and down, roller coaster, this and that, you're not alone there, Bird Gang. You're absolutely not alone, because I feel the exact same way. Awesome. Everybody, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's see if your guys' minds change later on in the week, because I'm pretty sure my mind will change as right now. But I do know one thing. Lou Anarumo is my that's my wish list in terms of who I want to be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. If he's not, no worries. I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to support whoever is going to be the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals moving forward. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cards.